The sun was sinking behind the red mesas of Arizona when Jacob Hale reined in his horse near a dry wash. He had lived alone on his small ranch for years, speaking more to cattle than to people. Silence suited him. That evening, however, something broke the stillness. Soft sobbing carried on the wind. Jacob dismounted slowly, one hand resting near his rifle, though he felt no rush of fear. The crying came from behind a cluster of juniper trees. As he stepped closer, he saw a figure rise from the shadows, taller than any person he had ever known, her head nearly level with the lower branches. She was enormous, easily 7 feet tall, broad-shouldered and wrapped in a torn blanket. Her dark hair fell loose, tangled with dust, and tears streaked down her cheeks. She raised her hands slowly, palms open, trembling. "Don't be scared of me," she said, her voice breaking. "Please, I won't hurt you." Jacob felt his breath catch, not from fear but from surprise. He had heard stories of strong Apache women, but never anything like this. Still, fear never reached his chest. What he saw was not a threat, but grief standing upright before him. He lowered his rifle and spoke calmly. "I'm not scared," he said. "You're crying, that tells me enough." Her shoulders sagged as if his words had cut the last thread holding her upright. She sank to her knees, the blanket slipping from her arms. "My name is Nantai," she whispered. "My people left me behind. They said I was too big, too strange, a curse that would bring hunters to us." Jacob crouched a short distance away, keeping his movements slow. "You're not a curse," he said simply. "You're just alive." Nantai laughed weakly through tears. "Alive but alone. I followed the river for days, no food, no fire. When I saw your horse, I thought you'd shoot me before I could speak." Jacob shook his head. He removed his canteen and rolled it gently across the dirt toward her. "Drink," he said. "We can talk after." She drank carefully as if afraid the water might vanish. Color slowly returned to her face. The sun dipped lower, and the desert cooled. Jacob glanced toward his ranch, miles away, then back to her. Leaving her there wasn't an option he could live with. "You can come with me," he said. "I've got a cabin. It's nothing fancy, but it's warm and there's food." Nantai stared at him in disbelief. "You'd take me in? Even like this?" "Especially like this," he answered. The walk back was slow, her long stride matching his horse's pace. She spoke little, conserving strength, but Jacob sensed her watching him carefully, as if waiting for fear to finally surface. It never did. What he felt instead was responsibility, steady and firm. At the cabin, Jacob lit the stove and handed her a bowl of stew. She hesitated before sitting on the floor, worried her size might break his furniture. He pulled out a sturdy bench and placed it near the fire. "It'll hold," he said. "So will you." She ate in silence, into the bowl. "No one's ever spoken to me like I mattered," she said quietly. "They only saw what I was, not the fire." "Out here, everyone survives because someone once gave them a chance," he replied. Days passed, then weeks. Nantai helped with the ranch in ways Jacob never imagined. She lifted fallen beams, repaired fences in hours, carried water barrels with ease. Yet she was gentle with the calves, careful not to frighten them. Strength and kindness lived together in her, inseparable. At night they talked by the fire. She told him of her childhood, how elders whispered when she walked past, how children were warned not to play near her. Jacob listened, never interrupting, letting her words find solid ground at last. "You don't look at me with fear," she said one night. "Why?" Jacob considered the question. "Because fear comes from not understanding," he said. "And I understand enough. You're someone who was hurt. That doesn't scare me." Winter came early that year. Snow dusted the desert and the nights grew bitter. One storm trapped them inside for days. When the roof beam cracked under the weight, Nantai braced it with her shoulders while Jacob repaired it. When it was done, she laughed for the first time. A deep, warm sound that filled the cabin. In that moment, Jacob realized his loneliness had slipped away quietly without asking permission. He no longer ate alone, worked alone, or faced the long nights in silence. Nantai, too, stood taller, her eyes clearer, her tears finally drying. One evening, as the fire burned low, she spoke carefully. "You weren't afraid when you found me. You didn't try to use me or chase me away. You gave me a place to stand." She met his eyes. "If you ever wanted a life not alone, I would stay." Jacob felt his chest tighten, not with fear but with the weight of choice. "I don't want anyone here because they feel they owe me," he said. "I want them because they choose it." She nodded. "Then I choose." Spring returned, bringing green to the valleys. Travelers began stopping by the ranch, drawn by rumors of a giant woman who worked with quiet dignity beside a retired cowboy. Some stared, some whispered. None were chased away, but none were allowed to be cruel. Jacob would stand beside Nantai, unflinching. She no longer asked others not to be afraid. She simply existed, strong and unbroken, and that was enough. In the vast, unforgiving land of the American West, fear often decided who lived alone and who found a home. That day by the dry wash, Jacob had chosen something rarer than courage. He had chosen understanding, and in doing so, he gained not a legend, not a mystery, but a partner who turned an empty ranch into a life worth living.